Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is the third video in this series. We're going to be evaluating the University of California, Berkeley in this case. If you haven't already seen, we've already published two of these videos where we have evaluated Stanford, and secondly we've also evaluated the University of Southern California. So you can go ahead and check those out because those videos are also ready. Now we will be going over the University of California, Berkeley statistics. We're going to see if it's worth applying with your profile, okay? And I'm going to give you some tips, some advice from my end as well as show you all the data, that is, okay? So let's quickly hop onto wamgrad.com. Again, this is the website that we're using for evaluation nowadays. If you go over here and you type Berkeley, I believe it should show up over here. You can just click over here and you will be taken to the university page, just like that. Perfect. So now what we'll do is we'll evaluate it for some of these streams, okay? So the first thing that you can see is it's in Berkeley, California. Of course, that gives you an edge already. Just by being in California, if you are going for a STEM field, that is a STEM program, okay, or if you're going for an entrepreneurship program, just by being in California, that just gives you access to a lot more resources because, you know, regardless of if you are an engineer or you are going for a STEM field, right, you will have no dearth of jobs over there, like enough jobs. You will have more than enough jobs than you can apply to. Then if you're a management personnel, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you will have enough resources in terms of basically, you know, angel investors, and there's venture capitalists, there's people who always want to invest, and California is a great environment for entrepreneurs as well. So yeah. Plus, you know, if you're in California, you can also go to Stanford anytime, you can go to UC Berkeley, you can go to UC Los Angeles. So they're only a few hours away from each other, and I would say that it just gives you access to a whole lot more, population of very intelligent people who are doing some of the very state-of-the-art work. Okay, so just make sure that you understand that this is a big deal. The next things are that, of course, UC Berkeley is a public university. So one thing you should understand over here is that the cost of basically the tuition will be different for international students and national students. That is, students who are based out of, in-state students who are based out of California. Like, tuition will be different for them. Out-of-state tuition or the international student tuition will be completely different, okay? And this is a public university. There's 36,000 students over here. It's a huge number, with about 6,300 students which are international students as well. So yeah, make sure you understand the statistics. It's a very, I would say, if you just had to apply to one of these universities, UC Berkeley or Stanford, UC Berkeley has a bigger intake, and that might be a better idea if you want to go for that, okay? So I'm not going to read all of this. You can do that on your own if needed. We're just going to go over the statistics. There's almost 2,300 total students in the engineering programs that are enrolled every single year at UC Berkeley. The male to female ratio is a lot skewed. If you can see in this case, 70% male, 30% female students. However, the international student statistic is looking very attractive. Again, 48.6%. Almost 49% of these students are international students, which is a plus point if you're an international, okay? The application fees for people who are from within the US is $105. Outside the US, $125. The deadlines, January the 7th for both of these. Okay, I would say just consider applying. These are, by the way, the fall deadlines. I would say consider applying in December max. Don't try to push it to January because just try to be safe. In fact, the earlier you apply, the better. I've already verified this and this works. Okay, acceptance rate for masters is only about 28.4%. Pretty low, but hey, it's still much better than Stanford. Stanford was something around 13%, I believe. And the acceptance rate for PhD is 10.1%. Again, because they have a bigger intake, it's a public university, they have a bigger area, I believe. So, I'm not sure about the bigger area, but I'm pretty sure that they are able to accumulate more students, so they have to have some bigger area, right? So, yeah, that's why you can see that, the acceptance rates are much better in this case. It may be worth applying to Berkeley and may not be worth applying to Stanford. It looks like that, at least. The average GPA has to be 3.7. The average language scores are also pretty good in this case. The mean TOEFL score is 95. Minimum IELTS score is 7. It's much better than some of the top-notch universities like Stanford, which have very high average scores. The average GRE scores are also pretty good, 156 in verbal, 166 in quant, and basically a 4 in AWA, if you take a look at it from the GRE's perspective. Tuition expenses, these are extremely low as compared to Stanford. Just take a look at this, only $26,769, and Stanford was much higher. I'm pretty sure it was over $40,000, $50,000, over $50,000 per annum. That was crazy, right? So the tuition is almost half over here, and the living expenses are also much lower than what we saw in the case of Stanford. So the living expenses over here are $14,726. I'm pretty sure with some amount of living a little more frugally, you can bring these down towards $10,000 to $12,000 very easily. It doesn't have to be as high as $14,000 or $15,000. Okay, the funding here, you can see is pretty good. I mean, see, the enrollment is only about 2,300 students, and you can see that there's about 1,000 fellowships given out, 321 teaching assistantships given out, 720 research assistantships given out. Of course, these are distributed between the graduate school students, so that is both the master's and the PhD students, and that's something you might want to keep in mind. Let's take a look at some of the business statistics over here very quickly. You can see that the male to female ratio is a lot better in this case, at least it looks like it, but the international students are very less, and the enrollment is only 590 students. Again, the tuition fee, the application fee is almost double, and the tuition fee, if we take a look at it, is $61,000, which is also more than double of what we saw in the engineering school. Living expenses are also pretty hefty, and yeah, that just makes you think about whether you should go about management school or not. The average GPA is a little lower, and you can see the acceptance rates are also pretty well, 15.4% both for masters and PhD. And apart from that, the TOEFL mean scores are a little higher as compared to engineering school. You need to have at least 111 in basically the TOEFL. It's not at least, it's the average, but I would say if your profile is not top notch from any end, try to stick to these statistics, okay? Average GI scores, again, very high over here, 164 in quant, 165 in verbal. And as far as you can see for the GMAT score, it's 726, which is also very high, considering the GMAT is like out of 800 only. So yeah, average work experience is around 90 months. That's insane, right? It's more than 5 years, and you need to have this amount of experience to actually get into this program. And this is just the average. Of course, you can have less experience, but maybe your profile is better in some other aspect, so that's something that you might want to keep in mind. Employment figures, 75% of the people are employed as soon as they graduate. 93.4% of the people are employed within 3 months of graduation. The average salary is around $127,000, which is a little lesser as compared to what Stanford was offering. Alright, and again, you can see the fellowships, teaching assistantships, research assistantships. I'm not going to be going over law and undergrad in this video because the time is running out, but you guys can see the ACT and SAT statistics. In fact, you can actually just open up this page yourself and do your analysis for yourself as well. However, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be going on to the decisions tab, and I'm going to be searching Berkeley so that I can show you some of the admits and rejects. So you'll see more rejects over here than admits, because Berkeley is very selective in who they select and who gets in. So it's very rare that you'll see basically their acceptance rate is very low, right? So it's very rare that you'll see a good admit over here so easily. Okay, so let's just take a look at some of the admits. Let's focus on them first. Okay, so we can see over here that this is one of the admits, this is one of the admits. There's two only over here as far as I can cite, and it's pretty clear that you can see that they do have pretty good profiles. As far as I can see, the CGPA is 404, the GRE is pretty good, TOEFL is pretty good, work experience is 12 months, and they applied to electrical engineering. So they did not need to have a lot of work experience. It's not like the case of MBA school. Again, over here also you can check another applicant out. I would say just go on, and you can even take a look at their scores, their other decisions, their resume, and with that you should basically have a lot more clearer picture in terms of what the profile needs to be like in order to actually get into some of these universities, right? And yeah, I guess this should cover up everything that you needed to know. It should make things a little more clear in terms of whether you should apply to UCV or not. My personal suggestion would be to just see every application you apply to, it's not just the application fee that you're paying, you're also paying some other things, like you're sending your scores, you're basically doing other things, maybe you're sending your transcripts. So all of that also keeps on adding up And in order to avoid that, only apply to the universities or a good mix of universities, good mix of ambitious, moderate, and safe universities. If you think that, hey, this thing does fit in, basically your profile can get in over here, make sure that you've taken a look at the admits, make sure that you've taken a look at the rejects, make sure that you understand the university statistics, because UCB is highly selective, I would say. Okay, it's not the case that I'm not encouraging you to apply. I'm just saying, hey, if money matters to you a lot, or the number of applications matter to you a lot, and you cannot do more than 5-6 applications, and you want to be sure that you have a lot more options in terms of the admits you get at the point that you finish your admissions process, then UCB might be worth thinking about twice, because that's one less university that you can apply to, which could have been an admit. Okay, so apart from that, I think it's a great place to be. However, if you do get selected, there's a massive ROI, and I'm sure that you will enjoy it. For now, I think this is everything that I want to talk about. One thing I'll point out is you can go on over here to UniPredict and you can enter your statistics, and the computer will actually recommend some universities to you based on your profile. I believe that should help. Apart from that, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. If you like this video, if you like the effort that I put in, do consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.